everybody, welcome back to Disco Elysium. I spent 3 hours today recording, editing, and uploading Sprout. Yeah, that was fun. And then I spent 3 hours live streaming. So I've already been doing some stuff today. So I'm sorry if I'm a little tired and drained. But I have to record this now or we're not getting a 4 a.m. video. And I would love to get a 4 a.m. video. It's kind of like a self-challenge to upload on the spots I've selected every time. And I can do it. So let's go. We're just going to kind of wander around, see if we can find the doctor. Kim is inside of me. Ooh, what's over here? Oh, hello. We'll talk to you in a second after I touch this bubble. What are these doing in the fish? What are what? Bubbles?
Aye, officer.
What do you got hanging from your ear? The net picker. A woman in a raincoat stands on the quay. Considering an overturned boat, a sword in a scabbard hangs from her hip. Is she a pirate?
Anything I can help you with?
That depends. Where are we exactly?
Fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium.
Why?
The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place.
The wind rattles her earrings. Okay. I have questions. The first is, what's your
My
name?
name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker.
She
I
gestures.
have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Okay. Indeed, you're always confused as your whereabouts. I'm looking for someone. Maybe you can help. Let's see. She tilts her head ever so slightly. Who are you looking for? I'm looking for missing cryptozoologists. Ugh, she frowns, thinking, I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? People are looking for animals mainstream scientists deny exist. Aha, she exclaims. Like snowmen. Snowmen? I haven't heard of those. Two odd guys have been wandering around here, nose in sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like. Wait, the like? Right, she nods. Not only snowmen, but also green men, monkey men, burning rhinos. You get the picture. Oh, you're getting it. It is gorgeous. Where did they go? I don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. I mean, that's where they're headed. They were heading. She points north. Who else are you looking for, besides snowmen? I'm looking for a suspect who might have stayed in this neighborhood. Okay, when did this person stay here? Very recently, over the past few days. She might have arrived on Friday. Oh, she looks slightly disappointed. I've been out on the sea for most of the past week. The weather's been good for fishing, so I usually start at 4 in the morning. Really? Yes, that's the optimal time. Gotta make the most of the calm. I've been sleeping like a corpse after. The sea really takes its toll. Now I'm just waiting for the wind to settle to get out there again. Sorry I couldn't help you out. A faint smile runs across her face. Maybe I can help you find someone else. That's it. I'm not looking for anyone else right now. Well, how can I assist you then, officer? What do you do around here? Like I said, fish, mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. Is that enough to make a living? Sometimes I also walk the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises. That sounds really nice. Can I do that, please? Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her. What? Sorry, I totally just brain cramped. My brain went blank. Interesting. What have you found? Nope, I want to click that one. Wood. Pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. That's terrifying. She looks at the beach and continues. Bottles, drugs, also. Lost cargo in general, but most of the time, it's just wood and glass. All right, major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely. Oh. I need to know about those human bodies. Well, you're barking under the wrong tree then, officer. She shakes her head. I have no interest in floaters. Seen enough of them in my life already, a very unattractive bunch. Nice sword. Point at the saber on her hip. Does it come with a story? Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. She smiles at her own joke. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. It is imposing. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. Sorry, I've been talking for a while. It's okay. Why do you need intimidation tactics? From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men, and believe me, she adds, tittering, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. Why don't more women arm themselves if it's so effective? What makes you think we haven't? She smiles. The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too, but they put on an act for us, pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them, like anyone falls for that. I got rid of the expression. Scared? Scarred. Scared. I don't have an expression anymore. Behold! Point to the expression on your face. Her eyes meet yours and suddenly she starts laughing. It's hoarse, as if she hasn't laughed in a while. Do you like it? Sure, her face straightens. It looks as if you could face down any whore in the world with the same unchanging grin. It's like a shield. The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast. So where are all the men now? Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others more thick-headed, she looks down, and one of them I ended up marrying. Wait, why, if they're thick-headed? Guess I enjoyed the way he bled. Her expression doesn't change. It's hard to say if it's a joke. Oh, my Lord. Where's your husband now? Gone. Gone where? To the waves. Her eyes stop in yours. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. Oh. Say no more. Wait for her to continue. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Aw, sad. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago and I've moved on. There is only so much mourning you do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. Death is nothing. I shit on death. It's healthy to let go and move on. Gotta keep the wheels spinning. Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. She crosses her arms. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. She glances at the village where 2 little kids are playing with what looks like rocks. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids. She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another better drunk. Ask her. Both of you could use some action. Mine is 6 because I don't know a good spot yet. I'll ask her later. So I take it that's your skiff, point at the overturned boat. Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar. Just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Sunny days. Put your hand in the rain. Aye. She looks at the rain circles on the water. Sunny days. You got a problem with that? No, ma'am. We have no quarrel with sunny days. Good. 'Twould have been bad news had it turned out it wasn't a sunny day. Bad news for the skiff. Bad news for the nets. Bad news for the kids. There's a moment of silence. She looks at the rain streaming down the yellow belly of the boat. Kim? Kim? Or like, are you just making a mouth sound? I want to ask you something else. Be seeing you. Now we could, the boat is floating freely in the water unmoored. We could strong arm the check, but I want to find a good spot first. Hello, yellow bubble. The planks creak beneath your weight. Hello, green bubble. The ladder leads to a school of fish swimming in the kelp. Cute. Oh, it's Joyce.
I'll just keep the cordially in the channel if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier.
She winds the mooring line around a post.
Hi, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way. Of course, jetty. I prefer a good jetty to a pier any day. Jetty.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, detectives.
She fastens the end of the line around the post and straightens her
It's
back.
good to see you here. I only just arrived myself.
What brings you here, madame?
Nothing really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now. So I decided to investigate it personally. This cluster of buildings isn't on any of the official maps, as far as I can tell.
That, and she's also keeping an eye on you. So, how do you like it here?
How do I like it?
She casts her gaze towards the village, slush melting on the cinder blocks, construction work left half finished 10 years ago. Water drips down eaves of eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the tune. The smell of salt and dog shit in the background.
It's pornographically poor. The street has no name. All the men are dead or missing. And is that the carcass of a motor carriage over there?
She squints her eyes. Yes, and it's not mine.
I'm surprised that woman hasn't put me to the sword yet. Maybe she will. You should ask your questions while you can.
Why would she? Have you given her a reason to? Dark eyes survey the coast leading up to the Martinez. Dull gray metal rests in her scabbard. Sword. The wind is too loud for her to hear.
Fortunately for you, madame. The RCM is on the scene.
Alright, politics time. Let's react. You're right to be scared. This is all your fault. Maybe. She leans against the railing, looking up at the gray sky. Have I told you how they discovered this place? The wind picks up her raincoat, flapping in the gust. This island? No, the Insulian Isola. No, you haven't told me how they found it. Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate around 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty. Say nothing. It's a pity. Most of these people will never know what this place means. This island a matter, or why they were ferried over in the first place. Remind me to tell you one day. She cracks the scarf around her neck. For now, how can I assist you in this new location? Tell me now, we have time. Do we? He glances at his watch. It doesn't look like he does. I hear you have singled out a suspect and are in pursuit. This is cause for cautious optimism. I would not want to delay you. Maybe there is something else I can assist you with while you're hot in pursuit. Show your badge. I found my badge, by the way. By love you did. She inspects the piece of blue plastic, her eyes scanning from left to right. Fast, observant, like an electronic printer. She's memorizing your badge number. She hands it back to you. Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant. Doubly Frater Dubois? I'm glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. Seaweed drips from the badge in your hand. It smells like fish. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Frater? How about you share your information on the lynching, now that you've seen his badge? The goalposts have been moved, Lieutenant. In the absence of the badge, I have informed my employer there will be a probe. I cannot rescind that promise. She smiles apologetically. To my knowledge, the drivers are still at the roundabout. I will tell you everything I know when you've finished with them. Fair. I guess they're probably done soon. I'm glad to hear that, because let me tell you, we're in dire waters. The sooner the probe is finished, the sooner I can share crucial information with you. She takes a sip of tea. Now, is there anything else I could do for you in the meanwhile? Tea, perhaps. I spoke to the lorryman at the roundabout. Yes, my eyes on the harbor have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? Wait, where exactly are these eyes located? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire corridor. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation. If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation subject to confidentiality. I'm sure you understand. Of course, detectives, she says, her tone more cautious suddenly. In any case, you've held up your end of the arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands. Tell me again, how are the lynching and the strike connected? I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. A momentary lapse of faith. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer. Every worker. A member of the board, she nods. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Do you need a security detail? Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the union into surrendering. Who are they exactly? Krenel, an Ortiz military company. As far as I know 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder. Oh. And no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment. So what happened? The story is one of them, the colonel. I don't know his real name. Sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling and rangs. What? And lynched last Sunday night. What then? Nothing. Mr. Clay refuses to let me into the harbor. I've not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. And the remaining 2 Krenel contractors carry out their orders, for now. For now? It's a smokescreen. In secret they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow. What is the nature of this so-called investigation? Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. I have to say, this is not disco. This is very far from disco. A wave crashes against the side of her boat. My only hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, she leans against the wooden planks. If you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond. The debargers have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1. Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? She leans back. It's not pretty. The Ceres giant hornet, the world's 2nd largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours. Ooh, that reminds me. There's a game I want to play, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was really cute, and it's kind of like a base building, but bees, and it's like just so cute. I want to play it. These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most union workers don't have guns at all. The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after 1 or 2 shots, the automatics every 1 or 2 minutes. She is silent for a moment, then concludes, "As I said, a bloodbath." This is a pretty bleak scenario you're describing. Many bleak scenarios have already come true. She looks at you, eyes damp from the wind. Lieutenant W. Frater, Dubois. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse the situation. You said contain the situation. Yes, I'm afraid the strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Revachol West. Since you're sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario. Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have a tickle on my eye, so I have to poke it gently because I also have makeup in. Somehow smearing makeup all over my face does not seem like a good solution to an eye tickle. Can you tell me about Krenel? Not much. Their public resume is relatively good. As far as private military contractors go, I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. St. Baptiste, Welshman Lawrence, Endracht. A warning sign. However, the operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries, guarding facilities, escort missions, and such. Meaning they're used to operating in war zones. Yes, all the good conflict corridors, supramundi, yes it, the Seminoles Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Okay, anything else you got on them? Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources, she thinks. If you still have access to ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though, she thinks. Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am? In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Krenel. Could you contact the company? Tell them to call it off? I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us. She's being truthful. She's pressing them as hard as she can. You said the deceased assaulted a woman. Or he didn't, she tilts her head. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. Who did the passing on, then? The remaining contractors. Their tribunal is what they believe. What did these teenagers by the canal say? That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around the Martinez. This does not come as news to, but still. He exchanged a glance with you. To your knowledge, where did this assault took place, if you know? What the heck? Why is the writing suddenly having a couple of errors? I haven't noticed any errors the whole game. Last Sunday night at the Whirling and Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. And who was this woman? That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. This colonel, the one who was hanged, did you know him? If you mean, did I see him alive? Yes, but I did not know him. I burped. His name was Lully. His service name, a nom de Most likely, he wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did, a bad sign if there ever was one. There's Lully. Anything else? Nationality? How old would you say he was? He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions. This matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body, and Class A also mentioned it, I believe. He says to you, then turns back to Joyce. What else? Nationality? Accent? He was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent. Oranese or Messenian? Maybe his injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. She nods. That's all I know. I guess I only met him once. Where are the remaining 2 mercs now? They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. She raises a cautionary finger. For one, they're likely to be armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes, ghetto savages. It will be a fruitful meeting. We still need to know where they are. I have a high chance, but I don't want to risk it. You'll likely run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if you don't appear involved. Whatever, I'll try it anyway. Risk it for the biscuit. Yay! One is obviously the scab leader at the harbor gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers. One must be the goon in the ill-fitting work clothes by the harbor gates, the scab leader. That may be so. She is poised and unperturbed. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest. For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gates is a powder keg. Does this not bother you? Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant, but my hands are tied. How would my employers react if I were intervening on behalf of the Union? Your concerns may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace. One is probably in a building overlooking the roundabout. That would afford a good vantage point, she says. In any case, it's practically inaccessible. Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece? Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a shortwave at the ship's wheel. She nods towards the sloop's cabin. I had another question for you. How much time do we have? Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience. They don't report their progress to you? Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. There is a brief silence, seagulls squawking over the bay. It's a matter of days, not weeks. That's enough for now. I'm sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there's anything else I can help you with, please ask. Now can you tell me about these tattoos? Of course. Excuse my hesitation before. She reaches over the guard wire and takes a photo, holds it in her hand. For about half a minute in silence. She wears fingerless gloves. Her fingernails are cut short and fractured, like those of a working woman. It is taken with a triget not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no markings on his hands or legs. Stay quiet. Observe the woman's expression. Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface. What do you think? Sorry. She breaks her concentration. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points, the stars. She points to one on the photo paper. I can't, but that's how you read the story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Like stars in the sky. Close, she nods. Port cities. This is an Ortiz map of the waterways. A sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the DeLorean century, over 300 years ago. The sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. What is the use of this map? The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they'd call it. That's actually really interesting. I like that. What travels did the dead man make? Quite a few. Redefort, The Orni's capital traditionally stands on the right shoulder. She points to it in the photo. He started somewhere near here, I think. What's next? Then he made his way to the Prento Grande through what I think must be Stan's Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Prento, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean. First the Seminoles Islands, and this, she points to his heart. What is that? Rivachol, she says. Those are the two constants. Verdefort on the shoulder and Rivachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde at the dawn of the Interstellar Age. The old world passing by, the new world already here. You said you can't read it. I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. Verdefort. Verdefort was a military academy. The Seminoles Islands saw a recent conflict. In Rivachol, he was executed. Maybe it's a record of his military career. That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident, mercenary tattoos. For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas. Who could tell me more? His platoon members? The other contractors, though, I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade. I need the information. Mark it down. Ask the mercs about the tattoo. Do what you have to do, Detective Dubois. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security, but if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you. We will be careful, ma'am. That's all for the tattoos. Thank you for your help. She hands you back the photo. Is there anything else I can help you with? Thank you. That's all for now. Cool. And actually, that was a good save. Because even though we didn't find the scientist, we did find Joyce. And we got a lot of information. And it's 30 minutes. And I need a break. So thank you everybody for coming out and playing with me. It was a ton of fun. I actually expected to like drag on and have a hard time doing it, but I didn't. So that's great. And I hope that it showed. I don't know. I'll see y'all next time. Bye!